The way I think about it is that old Western cities build out instead of up.
That's true.
And the things that I like culturally come from cities that build up.
Welcome to Real Siblings, It Ain't Easy, a real estate podcast with the goal to educate, inform, and save their listeners time as they navigate the market and properties in their neighborhoods. Get ready to join real-life siblings and professional real estate advisors, Donna Reed and Eric Seemann, as they discuss how it may be simple, but it ain't always easy.
Every time I think about the places I have known, I realize that times have changed. So I'll do what I can to make this house into a home. Yeah, yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Real Siblings. It Ain't Easy, a real estate podcast that just ain't typical. I'm Donna, and he's Eric. Eric isn't with us tonight. We are the Real Siblings, and there's been one or two other times where we were not both available for this. My brother Eric is kind of sick right now. He's in the hospital. So I have asked two others to join us. And you know that our goal is to communicate, educate, connect, and entertain you. And I have my entertaining sons here. So I'm sure it will be interesting / amusing. I don't know. Anyway, the topics do vary. And part of the reason that I've asked these guys tonight to join is because they both live in Denver and they live an entirely different style of life. So, Adam, you're in my top. Say hi.
Hi. Hi, I'm Adam.
Way to go.
The middle child, yeah.
Middle child.
And I'm Caleb. I'm her youngest.
And for those of you that listen regularly, you know that I do the video and then Eric takes the audio and converts it to the podcast where you can listen to us on Spotify or YouTube or wherever. And both of these two sons have been involved in some of the production of that over time. Adam does a little bit of music. And Caleb, I think you read something, right?
I think so.
He recorded something. So what we're going to talk about tonight, Caleb and his wife just went through a new home purchase. That was a little bit of a nightmare. And Caleb, before we get into the details, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about the fact that you already owned a home and just what the process was intended to be?
Yeah, I bought a house with my wife a few years ago in 2020. We're first-time home buyers. We bought a townhome that shared a wall with another house. It didn't really have a backyard. It didn't have a basement. But we were excited to be kind of doing it. And it was in the lull coming out of COVID where the interest rates were at like 3%. And we both work in education. It was kind of our budget. And this time we realized we needed to upgrade for a couple reasons. We wanted a neighborhood where my wife could kind of go for runs more. I play guitar, so sharing a wall with other people is not the best. Wanting a basement for that is better. So we were moving to a bigger house that was a single family home, and it was supposed to be kind of just a gentle upgrade. Interest rates are a lot more, etc. It was all hard.
So I want to interject here for the listeners. So, yes, you were doing it when interest rates were lower, but it was also a super competitive time to buy. So people were paying extra. And at that point, you were bidding up and you were agreeing to pay more than the appraised value so that you could get a place, right?
Which we did, and we had to make an offer on a house like the same day. It had gone on the market the day before we made the offer the next day, kind of thing.
Right. So Caleb and Jessica have been in a suburb that, okay, for me driving from Tucson, it's a tiny bit closer than where they have just moved to. They've moved a little bit further north. Adam, on the other hand, rents. And Adam lives, I'm going to say, in the city. And this is, you guys, a Tucsonan talking, in my air quotes.
Downtown, right?
Downtown.
The dead center.
But I don't even know if that's the case. So Adam, tell the listeners a little bit about where you live and how you live and why you choose to live where you live.
So I live in a neighborhood called Capitol Hill, which is walking distance from downtown and potentially, but really maybe a 10-minute drive to downtown. The way I look at the map, I think of it as being dead center of Denver, but truthfully, downtown is probably the center technically.
I agree with you, though.
When considering all the suburbs and whatnot, I'm a little bit east of downtown, and I rent, and I like walkability and the amenities that come with a major city. I like being close to those at this point in my life. So that's why I rent and live in the middle of town.
And that includes for you buses and trains, right? Like not just.
Yes and no. There's
Okay.
the bus system is close by, but Denver is still very much a car city.
Okay.
And even though there's a train system and a bus system, they're not so convenient that people take them unless they have to.
I think of the light rail as a thing that people use to go to football and baseball games.
Sure.
Because there's bad parking for the stadiums.
Yeah.
So it's like straight lines from the airport to places.
Ah.
Not really anything else.
I take the train to and from Union Station to the airport
Right.
almost every time I fly.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And it's about a 30-minute train ride, 35 minutes maybe.
But better than driving and parking and leaving the car there and stuff.
For me, yeah, I'm single. I live alone, as you all know, as you both know.
Well, not
Just
everybody knows that. But we know
surprise. Yeah,
that.
no. yeah, I decided to let you know here. I got married yesterday. No, but I just like cities. I used to live in Brooklyn, and
You lived in Chicago?
yeah, in Chicago, and I like the walkability and the feeling of major cities and being able to walk.
Yep.
That said, I don't walk to places in my neighborhood that often. I have a coffee shop that I walk to. I have a grocery store, because usually if I'm going to one of those walkable places, I'm going further right afterward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even though my local coffee shop is 2 blocks away, I'm usually driving from there to work or another part of town.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could walk, though, right?
I could walk.
I want to know that
And
I could, and then I'm not going to.
Yeah,
I want
right.
the option.
And I work at a brewery with 2 locations, and both locations it's 10 minutes and 15 minutes away.
But sometimes you have to go to
driving.
both of them. So it's not necessarily convenient if you're running between them to have walked or ridden.
You have walked, exactly. When I was doing the AGM position at work,
Yeah.
I would have to go back and forth more often.
Yeah.
And that is, you need a car for that.
Yeah.
Um,
So for the listeners also, because both of these guys graduated from high school in Tucson, and then Adam lived in Phoenix for a while.
mhm.
And the cost of living in Tucson is substantially less than the cost of living in Denver. And without telling people how much you pay for things, Adam and we just had a conversation yesterday about rent and would it go up and what your lease is more the summer, right? But you're in a building, I don't even know what they call these. There's you're in a basement apartment, but then there's 1, 2, is there 4 above you?
I'm the 7th unit out of 7.
Okay.
And it's honestly more like a Victorian house that's been converted.
Right.
Even I live in the garden level apartment, aka basement. So I have windows that you can see outside, but I don't have a ton of natural light. And that's one of the only things I don't like about my apartment.
And the ones up above you have balconies and stuff out front, right?
Yeah, they have balconies, and we all share a porch, a laundry room, and there are parking spaces in back. However, I'm the only one without a parking space.
But as rent in Denver goes, you have a pretty decent rent.
I have a really good deal. With it an hour ago, I was talking to somebody who pays more than I do for 600 square feet less.
Wow.
And the average in the neighborhood, from what I've paid attention to since living, I've been here about 2 years, maybe a little under, a little over. I can't remember.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
The average in the neighborhood is it's more like $1,300 a month for 500 or 600 square feet.
Wow.
In this neighborhood.
And how big is yours?
900 square feet.
Okay.
And I pay less than average for more square footage, so that's why I'm here.
That's why you're there. Yeah.
And I get along well with my neighbors, and so luckily, so that's all good.
That's nice. And so Caleb, on the other hand, to be honest, we'll go a little bit more into detail about what happened on his. So Caleb and his wife were in a situation where they needed to sell what they had to take the equity from the first home to buy the second one. And for those of you that listen to this, if you don't know, that's a contingency. You have to fulfill the contingency in order to buy the next home. And they were supposed to close on their sale on the 20th of December. And then they were in the car coming to Tucson for Christmas. And Caleb, tell folks a little bit more about what happened without going crazy mad.
We were supposed to move. We were planning on a certain thing. The person purchasing our house, I'm going to call her Stacy. That's not her name. Stacy was buying our house, and Stacy was ending her apartment contract at the end of December. So she was trying to buy our house quickly. We had just about a month to find another house and sell. It's 5 weeks, I think. So we found a house. We were trying to be accommodating. My wife wanted to move a lot. You know, we talk about, Adam, where your rent is worth it for some of the things you wish you had instead, where you make a trade.
Yeah.
My wife wanted to live suburbs a lot more than me. I'm a lot farther from work now. I did my first drive to work yesterday. We had snow, and it was 50 minutes. It's like, that's bad. Mm-hmm. But it's the trade-off for her, because it's her as well. She has to work that distance, is the home that comes with it. Because she's a homebody, or because I'm a homebody, we'd rather have our house be nice and make the effort otherwise.
Yep.
Versus Adam, I think you live out more than we do. So having buy makes a difference. Anyways, we found a house we liked. We were very excited by it. And we were supposed to close, and we knew we work in education. We had a week and a half off. So we were going to go to Tucson, come back, and move, but close right before we left. The person buying our house had, through a series